charging port that you plugged in correctly on the first attempt. I know, revolutionary. But here's what's wild, that tiny little oval-shaped port on your phone, your laptop, your earbuds, your portable battery, maybe even your coffee mug warmer. That connector is quietly one of the greatest engineering compromises in tech history. And almost nobody talks about it. Welcome back to the logic of simple things, where we pull apart the everyday objects hiding extraordinary stories. Today we're going deep on USB-C, what it actually is, how it took over the world, why the EU basically forced Apple's hand, and why is your cable drawer still a disaster even though USB-C was supposed to fix everything. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll never look at a charging port the same way again. Let's go back. Not that far, just about 15 years. Picture your bedside table. In 2010, you've got your phone charging with a micro USB cable. Your laptop is plugged into a chunky barrel charger. Your camera needs its own proprietary cable. Your Kindle, different cable. Your friend has an iPhone. That's a whole other situation. It was chaos. Beautiful, chaotic, cable spaghetti madness. And the worst part? Micro USB. That evil little trapezoid that somehow always went in upside down, even when you checked twice. Scientists haven't fully explained this phenomenon. We're not sure they ever will. This was the world in which USB-C was born. A world crying out for order. But before we get to the solution, let's understand the problem more deeply, because USB itself has a surprisingly fascinating origin story. USB stands for Universal Serial Bus. And that word universal was always the dream, even if reality took a while to catch up. The original USB standard launched in 1996, designed by a team that included engineers from Intel, Microsoft, IBM, and others. The goal was simple: replace the jungle of ports on the back of computers, serial ports, parallel ports, two connectors, with one unified standard. It worked. Mostly. USB-A, that big rectangular plug, became the standard for connecting everything from mice to keyboards to flash drives. Then came USB Mini, USB Micro, USB-B. Each solving a specific problem, each creating new confusion. We were winning the battle but losing the war. By the early 2010s, the average household had a drawer that looked like a technology graveyard. Old chargers, mystery cables, adapters for adapters. And nobody threw them away, because what if you needed one someday? You never needed them, but you kept them anyway. The USB-C connector was introduced in 2014, and the people who designed it had a checklist of everything wrong with every previous connector. Too big. Fixed. USB-C is slim enough to fit on a phone thinner than a credit card. Orientation specific. Fixed. Flip it either way. It works. Every time. First try. It still feels like magic. Not powerful enough. Fixed. USB-C can carry enough electricity to charge a laptop, not just a phone, an actual laptop, while simultaneously transferring data and sending a 4K video signal to a monitor. Through one cable. Let that sink in. One cable. Charging. Data. Video. All at once. The secret is in the standard. USB-C isn't just a shape, it's a framework that supports multiple different protocols, which is basically tech speak for sets of rules. Depending on what the cable and devices support, that same USB-C port can run USB 3.2 for fast data, Thunderbolt 4 for blazing fast transfers, DisplayPort for video, or USB power delivery for high wattage charging. It's the same physical connector, but what it does depends on what's underneath. Think of it like a highway. Every car uses the same road, but a bicycle, a semi-truck, and a sports car all behave differently on it. USB-C is the highway. The protocols are the vehicles. Now here's the question nobody asks out loud. Did companies switch to USB-C because it was genuinely better? Or because everyone else was switching? Honestly, both. And that's not a bad thing. Technology standards are a bit like languages. The best language in the world is useless if nobody speaks it. A standard only works when everyone adopts it. So yes, there's a network effect here. Once enough companies went USB-C, staying on a different system became genuinely costly. Apple resisted longer than most. They had their proprietary Lightning connector, which, credit where it's due, was actually pretty good for its time. Reversible before USB-C existed, compact, reliable. But by 2023, after years of pressure and a hard deadline from the European Union, even Apple had to make the switch on iPhones. And that's the other big force in this story: government regulation. The EU passed a law requiring all consumer electronics sold in Europe to use USB-C as their charging standard by late 2024. Their argument? Every year, millions of old chargers end up in landfills when people switch devices. If everyone uses the same charger, you keep the cable when you upgrade your phone. Less waste, simpler life. It was a rare case of regulation and consumer preference pointing in the same direction. The result? An accelerated global shift made USB-C the undisputed king of connectivity almost overnight. All right, full transparency time. Because USB-C isn't perfect, and there's a dirty little secret hiding in your cable drawer right now. Not all USB-C cables are the same. I know. We just spent 5 minutes celebrating how unified everything is. But here's the twist. The connector is universal. The capability is not. That cheap USB-C cable you grabbed at the airport for $4? It might charge your phone at the speed of a garden hose. It almost certainly can't output video. It might max out at USB 2.0 speeds, which for reference is slower than a USB-A cable from 2005. Meanwhile, a premium Thunderbolt 4 cable with the same physical plug can transfer a full 4K movie in under 2 seconds and power a monitor simultaneously. Same shape, wildly different abilities. This is the part that trips people up. The good news? Manufacturers are getting better at labeling cables. Look for the watt rating, the speed rating, or certifications like USB4 or Thunderbolt 4 on the packaging. When in doubt, buy from reputable brands and check the specs. It's a growing pain, but it's getting better. So where does USB-C go from here? The connector itself isn't going anywhere soon. That oval shape is likely to be with us for the next decade, at minimum. But what runs through it keeps evolving. USB 4 version 2.0, yes, that's its actual name. It's confusing, we agree. Can push data at 80 gigabits per second. For context, that's fast enough to transfer an entire year of HD video in about a minute. Thunderbolt 5, already rolling out in high-end laptops, pushes even further. Power delivery is improving too. We're seeing USB-C cables that can deliver 240 watts, enough to power not just a laptop, but a high-performance workstation. The dream of one cable to rule them all? We're closer than we've ever been. And crucially, the physical connector won't change, meaning today's devices won't become obsolete the way they did when we jumped from micro-USB to USB-C. The next time you reach for that little oval-shaped cable and it clicks in, first try either side, I want you to think about everything that had to happen to make that possible. Decades of competing standards. Thousands of engineers are debating connector geometry. EU lawmakers are drafting legislation about charging ports. Apple is finally letting go. All of it, so your life could be one cable simpler. That's the history of USB-C, a small connector with an enormous story. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people discover the show. Subscribe so you never miss any videos and drop a comment below. What everyday object should we cover next? Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.